Dark truths about getting jacked. I know. There is some dark truths out there about getting jacked. So, number one, dark truth about getting jacked. Body dysmorphia. So one thing you'll notice on your journey to getting jacked, getting in shape, recreating yourself, becoming someone that you are actually proud of, you're going to experience like some body dysmorphia. You'll start to think, is this even worth it? Am I even because your head starts to play tricks on you, because it's kind of weird, because sometimes, like even myself, I still see it. Sometimes you see when you look, like even though like your confidence has improved and everything is better since you've gotten in better shape, like you feel better, there's always gonna be that like little inkling of like, you see, you like, for example, in my personal experience, like I used to be really, really skinny, right? And then I gained, and then I built up muscle. Sometimes I'm like, I still see myself as like, it sounds crazy, I still see myself as like skinny. And sometimes you'll look yourself in the mirror and be like, I look skinny, but then it's funny because you'll start to think all these things about yourself, like, I'm skinny, like, you know what I mean, I'm scrawny. Like, you still see who you used to be, right? And who you are now. But then it's funny when you walk around and stuff, people tell you, you look jacked, bro, you look you look crazy, bro, like you look in shape. And then after, it's like, oh shit, but then here I am all day, I'm beating myself up in my head about, I'm scrawny, I'm this, I'm that. But I think it's just like a mental like, it's how I am now. Like, it happens less, like the more like I become more aware of it. It's just like, it's just a mental thing that it's like, I feel like over time it goes away. But it's one of those things where it's like, deep down, you're always gonna have those little insecurities. You kind of remember like who you used to be. But I think the key, and that's the thing when it comes to like getting in shape and like recreating yourself and becoming someone that you're actually like proud of, is that it's like a never-ending journey, right? You're always gonna have that little bit of insecurity. But I think the key is just like understanding it, and just like, understanding where it comes from, and understanding that it is an insecurity, and that your insecurities aren't the reality, right? And you know what I mean? And building evidence that you are, and building the evidence in your life by like, staying committed on your fitness and doing the things you said you were going to do, like it proves to yourself that you are who you say you are. So I think that's a great way to combat like that body dysmorphia, right? Like, I feel like everybody's gonna have insecurities, and that just comes with self-improvement. Like, you're always gonna have that glimmer of like who you used to be, but as long as you don't let it define who you are now, right? The second dark truth about getting jacked is that, people will constantly everywhere you go, you'll get a comment about. Eventually, it gets a kind of annoying. Like, it's kind of, in the beginning, it's flattering. People tell you you look jacked, you look you look in great shape. But eventually, it kind of gets a little bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Like, sometimes it's like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm pretty jacked. Like, you don't need to. Like, there's always, I don't know. To me, maybe it might not be annoying to you, but to me, it kind of gets a little bit annoying, because it's just like, okay, I get it. Like, I lift weights. Like, they always gotta be, hey, big guy, or they'll be like, say things like, oh, did you eat your spinach today? Or like little dumb, like, it doesn't bother me that much, but sometimes when you hear it like a lot, eventually it's like, okay, like, I get it, bro. Like, ooh, cool. Like, I get it. I work out, like, I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, it's a compliment, they're complimenting you. I just think sometimes, I don't know, sometimes for me personally, I find it gets a little bit like repetitive. It's like, okay, I get it. I look jacked. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's nice. I like the compliments, but sometimes it just, like, it gets a little bit much. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me with this. I don't know. Am I the only one? Maybe I'm just, who knows? I could just be like an ungrateful bastard or something. Like, maybe I'm just ungrateful or something, and I'm just complaining for no reason. But that's one of the things that I noticed about getting jacked that is, I guess, is a dark truth. The third thing about getting jacked is that you'll notice that people might not really understand you anymore. So, for example, like when you're in that phase of like recreating yourself and you're becoming the best version of yourself, you're on your like self-improvement journey kind of thing, like people might not understand. Like, it depends. Like, if you still have like a lot of people like around you who knew you before you started getting in the gym, and getting like jacked and stuff, people, they might start to like think you're weird, or like think you're obsessed. Like, for example, like David Goggins, if you guys know David Goggins, he said it best. Like, he's like, when you get to that point where people do not like you or don't understand you anymore, like you've arrived. And I didn't quite get what he meant by that, but once I started getting jacked, I realized what he meant by that, where it's like when you have like a certain drive to like be like your best self, like people are not going to understand you, and you might be viewed as like an outcast, or like people might think you're like crazy. Like, you even see like with athletes, like look at Kobe Bryant, like his teammates probably think like, yo, why is this guy getting up at 6 a.m. every morning? Like, why is he doing this? Why is he going to the gym at this time every day? Why, like, you know what I mean? They might think you're a little bit like obsessed. They might think you're crazy, right? But they may not understand the drive. You know what I mean? And that's just something that is just like, it's not like a negative, like it's not really like a negative thing, but it's just something to be aware of, because sometimes like you don't want to let those comments or like let people kind of like drag you down, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like as you like, and that's another thing, I've mentioned this in previous videos before, like once you have like a drive or like a determination about yourself to like be your best self, like people tend to like want to bring you down with them, because it kind of signals like insecurity in them. So you got to be careful and be mindful and like not let people drag you down to their level, kind of thing, you know. So it's one of those things where it's like, once you like, people may not understand you anymore, and you just got to understand like where it comes from, and you just got to ignore like the outside noise and not let it cloud your judgment. So basically what I would say is like not letting the judgment from other people cloud your focus on your mission, your goal, and all that stuff, right? With that being said, honestly, I don't even think there's any dark truths about getting jacked. These are kind of like some slight negatives, but the positives are way like they outweigh the negatives like tenfold. Like, these are just side effects, dark truths, with what you call it, about getting jacked. You should still get jacked. You should still get in shape, be the best version of yourself. You should recreate yourself, become someone that you are actually like proud. Like, be proud. You should be happy when you look yourself in the mirror and you see like you're in great shape. You know, it just improves your overall mental health. Like, you know what I mean? Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Like, you got to do this shit for you. You got to be a little bit selfish in this world. But make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Send this to someone who needs to hear it. And remember, there's nothing enlightening about playing small. People don't feel insecure around you. I'll catch you guys in the next video.